Game 2 of the NBA Finals, Devin Booker and Mikal Bridges had a field day against Milwaukee. Booker and Bridges combined for 58 points in a huge Game 2 win, and the Suns find themselves up 2-0 in the series. Giannis Antetokounmpo was a frustrated performer despite scoring 42. Middleton had an off night. Holiday and Connaughton did the best they could, but it wasn't enough. And now the Milwaukee Bucks find themselves in an 0-2 hole going home. I will have more on the NBA Finals today, along with some other major baseball news as we get ready for the All-Star break. We'll talk some NASCAR, and we're going to have a great show. Let's get the Scott Manning YouTube Weekend Kickoff Show, Sports Kickoff Show going now. And a good Saturday and a good Friday to all of you watching out there in YouTube land. This is Scott Manning coming to you live for the Scott Manning YouTube Weekend Sports Kickoff Show. I want to thank all of my loyal viewers for being with me here on this day. We have a lot to talk about here in the next half hour or so. I am so thrilled about having you with me. We're going to go right into the show. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to share those. I will be taking those during the show today because today we have a lot to talk about. First things first, we're going to start it out with Game 2 of the NBA Finals, and what a game it was last night. The Phoenix Suns find themselves up 2-0 after a 118-108 victory in Game 2, and it was a great night for Devin Booker and Mikal Bridges. Booker had 31 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. Mikal Bridges, he had a great night for him. 27 huge points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. CP3, he was big in a big way. 23 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists, 1 steal. Jay Crowder, I haven't had a chance to call his name out much, but he had 11 points, 10 rebounds. He was big in the rebounds department, 3 assists and 1 steal. DeAndre Ayton did not have a good shooting night. He only had 10 points, but he had 11 huge rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks. He was the stealer and the blocker for the Suns last night in their Game 2 victory. But as far as the Milwaukee, think about this for a minute. The five players for the Bucks that were in double figures, they shot a combined 38 of 78 in Game 2. And CP3, he shot 50% by himself. He was 10 of 20. Booker, he was 12 of 25 in their Game 2 victory. And think about this for a minute. The Phoenix Suns shot 50% from beyond the arc. 20 of 40 to be exact. They shot 48.9% from the field, and they shot 85.7% at the free throw line. That's 12 of 14 if you're keeping score at home, like I always do. And Giannis, like I said at the top of the show, Giannis was a frustrated performer. Hold on. Okay. I thought I had a sneeze stuck. There we go. Giannis was a frustrated performer. Yes, he had 42 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 3 blocks. But it was a frustrating night. And that's how bad it was. Drew Holiday, he only had 17 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks to be exact. Pat Connaughton, this is about the second time I've had to call his name. 14 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist. Chris Middleton, a bad shooting night for him. 11 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals. Right now, the Milwaukee Bucks are a nightmare. And after last night in Game 2, after Antetokounmpo scored 42 points and had 12 rebounds and hardly anybody else forgot to answer the bell, this is what I think he's thinking right now. But let's think about the Bucks for a minute. They only shot 45.2% from the field. They were only 29% from beyond the arc. That's 9 of 31, by the way. And they were only 15 of 23 at the free throw line. That's only 65.2%. They couldn't hit a 3 last night, despite the fact that the Bucks dominated the fast break 17-7. In points in the paint 54-28, it wasn't enough because they tried to offset that shooting night from beyond the arc. It wasn't any good. They couldn't hit anything at the free throw line. And think about this. Anchorcomp, Holiday, Connaughton, and Middleton, the 4 players in double figures, they shot a combined 32 of 69 for the game. That's pretty bad. And that is why you're finding the Milwaukee Bucks in an 0-2 hole going home for Game 3. Now, Game 3 is not going to be until Sunday night. But right now, I'm going to come right out and say it. The Milwaukee Bucks from here on out are going to be they are officially in a go-to-the-wall situation. They got to go to the wall. The good news is the next 2 games are in Milwaukee. The bad news is if they lose one, they're really in trouble. They got to win Game 3. I'll say it. Let me go this route. The Milwaukee Bucks have to win the next 2. There's no doubt about it. They got to take the next 2 at home to have any chance. If they lose one of the next 2 games, the Phoenix Suns are going to be NBA World Champions because there's only been one team in history that has ever come back from a 3-1 deficit to win the NBA Finals, and that was the Cleveland Cavaliers 5 years ago when they had LeBron James. You don't want, and in the NBA playoffs, you do not want to find yourself in a 3-0 hole. No team has ever come back from that far down. And you don't want to find yourself in a 3-1 deficit either, to be honest with you. Only one time has a team ever come back down 3-1 to win it all. Giannis did the best he could. He really did. 42 points, 12 rebounds. Middleton, Holiday, Lopez, they got to answer the bell. They got to come out answering the bell in Game 3 on Sunday night. And they got to take it. They can't let Booker, CP3, Ayton, Bridges, they cannot let those guys have a field day. And I'm going to tell you right now, and the way it's going right now, I'm thinking the Suns in 5. That's what I'm thinking right now. Some people in Phoenix are saying 4-game sweep. I'm thinking, no, we're not going to get a 4-game sweep. I would love to see it, but here's the deal. A lot of people want a 4-game sweep. However, at the end of the day, I can see the Bucks winning one at home. I really do. But I'll say it one more time. The Milwaukee Bucks are they got to go to the wall in the next 2 games. If they lose one, they are in really deep trouble. Because right now you got Booker, Bridges, Paul, Crowder, Ayton. They're just Phoenix. The Suns have a bench. They got bench guys who can come off. They got guys who can come off the bench and do some damage. And I think that's one thing everybody forgot. But I didn't. Game 3 Sunday night at 9 o'clock on ABC. It's going to be fun to watch. Enjoy it. Now, that was your NBA Finals post-game and a little preview for Sunday night. Let's move on to the world of Major League Baseball. The Chicago Cubs are facing the St. Louis Cardinals in a weekend series. However, both teams now find themselves 2 games under 500 going into the weekend. Everybody's asking me, Scott, what's the deal? What's going on? I'll get to that here in a few minutes. I'm going to address that. But I want to get you ready for the weekend matchups. This is a huge weekend matchup. I'm not going to give you the hitter numbers. I'm not going to do any of that because I got a few other things I want to talk about when it comes to this. I'm not going to bore you with that today. But Friday matchups, but today's matchup, this is a 2:20 matchup today at Wrigley Field. And yes, it's going to be on the MLB Network. Wade LeBlanc will be going for the St. Louis Cardinals today. He has a 2.16 ERA and 9 strikeouts to his credit. He's normally a reliever. Who's he facing today? Kyle Hendricks, a 10-4 record with a 3.83 ERA and 79 strikeouts to his credit. The Saturday matchup, and this is the matchup on Fox. Kwang Hyun Kim will be going for the St. Louis Cardinals. He has a 3-5 record with a 3.39 ERA and 52 strikeouts to his credit. He will be facing Zach Davies. He is a 5-5 record with a 4.28 ERA and 56 Ks to his credit. Now, the Sunday afternoon matchup. Adam Wainwright will be going for the Cardinals. He has a 7-5 record with a 3.58 ERA and 99 strikeouts to his credit. He will be facing Trevor Williams, a 3-2 record with a 5.51 ERA and 52 strikeouts to his credit. Now, as I said just a minute ago, both teams are below 500, and everybody is thinking, what is going on in Chicago and in St. Louis? Well, I may be able to answer that for you. And think about this. I had the Cardinals winning the division. And think back. In the Cardinals' last 18 games, they are only 8-10 in that span. Yes, they took 2-3 from the National League West leading San Francisco Giants. Yes, they did that. However, right now, the Cardinals are struggling. Is it time to trade away guys? Is it time for guys like Nolan Arenado to be designated for assignment? Not on your life. The Central Division is tough right now. The Cardinals are having their struggles, yes. Are they saving their best for the second half of the season? Yes, they are, in my opinion. But now the St. Louis Cardinals are struggling. They're 8-10 in their last 18 games. But it could be worse, you know. You could be the Chicago Cubs. In the Chicago Cubs' last 13 games, they are 1-12. And they had an 11-game losing streak in that span. Cubs president Jed Hoyer said the team will face a major overhaul. And let's think about this for a minute. At one time, the Cubs had an 8.5 game lead 11 days ago. Think about this. The Cubs had an 8.5 game lead a long time ago. It seems like a long time ago. And this was at one point in the season. And now they're finding themselves 2 games below 500. It could be a time to be sellers. Because keep in mind, at the end of the season, Craig Kimbrell, Chris Bryant, Javier Baez, Anthony Rizzo, all of those guys are free agents at the end of the year. They are. But there could be 2 players that could be designated for assignment. Jason Hayward. He's picking a real bad time to have a year at the plate. Right now, Hayward's only hitting .203 with a .286 on-base percentage and a .335 slugging percentage. Jake Arrieta, he was part of that Cubs team that won the World Series 5 years ago. He left and then came back. Arrieta's had a bad season. In 17 starts, Jake Arrieta has a 5-9 record with a 6.30 ERA. Is this the time for the Cubs to have a fire sale? Is this the time for the Chicago Cubs to really rebuild the team and start over at the midpoint of the season? Cubs president Jed Hoyer is saying yes. And I got to agree with him because right now, the Cubs had an 8.5 game lead and then they've given it away and now they're 2 games below 500. Bryant, Rizzo, and Baez, they're the best hitters that the Cubs have right now. And I mean, Jason Hayward, he needs to go back to the minors, and he can take Arrieta with him. But there's a few other guys that need to go too. But to be fair, I'm trying to be an honest man and be a fair person. But right now, the Cubs and the Cardinals are both very bad train wrecks. And of course, it's time for some changes in the Cubs organization. So what's going to happen this weekend is a 3-game set at Wrigley. It may not matter because right now, both teams are below 500. And there's a lot of things that worry me at this moment. And I'm going to say this to you. It's going to be fun to see how this season goes the rest of the way. And that's all there is to it. All right. Let's move on. The New York Yankees face the Houston Astros. A rematch of the past 2 ALCS are coming up this weekend. I want to address this series a little bit more. And I'm going to talk about Yankees manager Aaron Boone specifically, and I'll get to him in a few minutes. But first of all, the matchups. Tonight, the New York Yankees send Nestor Cortes to the mound. He has a 1.29 ERA with 29 strikeouts to his credit. Who's he going to be facing? The Houston Astros are sending Jake Odorizzi to the mound. He has a 3-3 record with a 3.70 ERA and 40 strikeouts to his credit. The Saturday matchup, and this is the Saturday matchup on Fox. Garrett Cole is going to the mound. He has an 8-4 record with a 2.91 ERA and 135 strikeouts. The last time we saw Garrett Cole on national television was when he got booed right out of Yankee Stadium for his horrible performance against the Mets, when the Mets lit him up. I have not forgotten about that, and I don't mind seeing it. I shouldn't sound like that, but my hatred towards the Yankees. And Zach Greinke's going to the mound for the Astros. He has an 8-2 record with a 3.64 ERA and 82 strikeouts to his credit. The Sunday matchup, and this is the Sunday matchup, 2 o'clock on TBS. Jamison Talion. He has a 4-4 record with a 5.05 ERA and 82 strikeouts to his credit. That's who the Yankees are sending. The Houston Astros are sending Framber Valdez. He has a 5-1 record with a 2.86 ERA and 47 strikeouts to his credit. Now, I want to talk about the New York Yankees here. The Yankees find themselves 1 or 2 games above 500. The Yankees are playing 500 ball. I had the Yankees winning the AL East. You got to remember that. The truth is, I've never seen a Yankees team look so bad in my entire life. And to be quite honest with you, everybody's been asking, is it time for Aaron Boone to be fired? There's some people in New York that are calling for his job. Because they said Aaron Boone was going to be a savior. He hasn't delivered. But here's the thing. Here's my take on that. The Yankees are going in the wrong direction. The team's only hitting 236. They're only hitting 236 as a team. They got an on-base percentage, and that's not so good. The slugging's not that good. And if you think about it, outside of Garrett Cole's the best pitcher. After that, the Yankee pitching staff goes, shh. And last Sunday, I saw the Mets light up Garrett Cole, and I saw Garrett Cole getting booed out. He got booed right out of Yankee Stadium last week. I've not forgotten about that. I don't forget things like that, people. And everybody knows it. The Yankees are struggling, and right now, everybody in New York is just very thankful that the Baltimore Orioles are the most sucky team in the league right now, or otherwise they'd be dead last in the AL East. That's all there is to it. So is it time for Aaron Boone to be fired? A lot of people are saying yes. And to be quite honest with you, I'm going to be one of those people. So is it time for Aaron Boone to go? I say yes. And right now, everybody in New York is doing this. Everybody in New York's crying. And I thought I'd never hear myself say this. The New York Mets are the team in New York, at least for this moment. The New York Mets are the team to beat in New York. Everybody's been talking about the Yankees for so many years. Is it time that we start talking about the New York Mets again? I say yes. The Mets are the talk of New York. And the Yankees, they're looking horrible. They look bad. I may be changing my mind on who wins the AL East. Just so bottom line, and keep that in mind. Okay. The Astros face the Yankees in a huge series. We'll see how it goes. All right. Let's move on. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave a comment here and I will address it, and I may share it here on the air today. So keep your comments coming, and let's move on. The Los Angeles Major League Baseball has decided to extend Trevor Bauer's administrative leave. Has been extended to another 7 days. The extension was obtained with the consent of the Major League Baseball Players Association. Now, the Players Association must grant consent from any extension of administrative leave, which guarantees players full compensation and service time while investigations proceed. Now, Trevor Bauer is on administrative leave, and this comes amidst of allegations made by 2 women of sexual assault. I'm not going to go into the graphic details of that. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to put. I may have a lot of women viewers out there, and I'm not going to force the issue. I'm going to be mindful of that, and I'm not going to share that. But I will say this though: Major League Baseball, and the Pasadena, California Police Department are conducting separate investigations. And the Trevor Bauer backlash has gotten worse. The Los Angeles Dodgers have decided to cancel Trevor Bauer bobblehead night, which was set for August 19th. The Los Angeles Dodgers have removed all of Trevor Bauer merchandise from their team store as a result of this. Major League Baseball and the Players Associations also said that we may not consider it an indefinite leave of absence or an indefinite leave. Just some things to think about. Trevor Bauer, if this turns out he did it, his career should end and he should go to jail. That's all there is to it. Now, I'm not going to go, like I said before, I'm not going to go into the graphic details of what happened. I'm sure you've seen it. I'm not going to repeat it. So don't ask me to do it because the answer is no. But I will say this. If Trevor Bauer did it, if he committed these crimes, he should be removed from the Dodgers. He should be suspended for the rest of the season, and he should have a jury trial. And if he's found guilty, he should go to prison. That's all there is to it. It's a no-brainer. Now, if he did it, there's an investigation, so I'm trying to be fair. I'm trying to be careful. But I'm going to say this. Trevor Bauer should be ashamed of himself if this turns out to be true. But I'm going to be quite honest with you. I do not condone a man hitting a woman. I do not condone what Trevor Bauer did. I do not. I don't condone it, period. So if it turns out he did it, he should get the book thrown at him. He should be, if it turns out that this needs to go on longer, Trevor Bauer should, and if it turns out he did it, Trevor Bauer should be suspended for the rest of the season, and he should have a jury trial, and we'll see what a jury has to say. But I promise you, if it turned out he did it, he should go to jail. But if it turns out this whole thing is something else, I'm not going to go any further. I'm going to tell you right now. And I applaud the Dodgers organization for taking action on their part. I applaud them. Trevor Bauer bobblehead night has been canceled. They pulled all of his merchandise off the shelves and out of the team store. You can't find anything Bauer on there right now. I applaud the Dodgers organization for taking action. I do applaud them. And I'm glad they're doing this. Major League Baseball and the Players Association, they're coming together when it comes to this. Because nobody condones a man hitting a woman, especially not me. And I'm trying to be open-minded about this. I'm trying to be very careful how I choose my words because I don't want anybody scream. I don't want to hear about it. But if it turns out Bauer did it, he should go to jail. And he should be suspended for the rest of the season. Because think about Marcell Ozuna. He beat up his girlfriend or whatever. He got suspended. He got a very, very lengthy suspension. I haven't forgotten about that. We'll wait and see what happens with the Bauer investigation. But for right now, he's innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. We'll see what happens. And that's all I'm going to say about that. All right, let's move on before I give myself a headache. I want to move on. The NASCAR Cup Series is at the Atlanta Motor Speedway this weekend for a 500-mile race. Last Sunday at Road America, we watched Chase Elliott prove to everybody that he can be a road warrior. As Chase Elliott won the Cup race at Road America last Sunday, Christopher Bell was second, and you had the two Busch brothers, Kyle and Kurt, coming home third and fourth respectively. What will happen in Atlanta? It's the Elliott family's home track. Can Chase Elliott win in his home state? We'll have to wait and see on that. But I'm going to tell you something. The 500-mile race in Atlanta is going to be a blast. I'm looking forward to it, like I always do. And we're going to see what happens. We're going to see what happens. And if it's going to be a great race on Sunday afternoon. 3:30 start here on the NBC Sports Network. We'll wait and see what happens. And everybody's asking me, Scott, why are we having a lengthy break in the IndyCar series? Well, now as you know, we won't be seeing the IndyCars again until the 8th of August at Nashville. The IndyCar series was supposed to have a race in Toronto on the street circuit, but the Toronto race got pulled because of COVID-19. So unfortunately, we won't be seeing the IndyCars for a month. And I know to all IndyCar fans, it's a disappointment. It is for me. However, hang in there. At least we got the NASCAR Cup guys this weekend, and it's going to be a blast. And I promise you, it's going to be a weekend that everybody is going to want to enjoy. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for my closing thoughts. As many of you know, the All-Star break is coming up this week. This weekend is going to be the final. All these baseball series this weekend is going to be the final series until baseball returns the following Thursday or Friday. All-Star weekend is coming up. A lot of this means the first half of the season is over. And when we come up on the All-Star break, we'll see what happens going into the second half. And coming out of the break, it's going to be make or break for a lot of teams. The Chicago Cubs, they were one of the favorites to win the National League Central. They're 2 games below 500, and they may be looking at a fire sale before this is all said and done. The St. Louis Cardinals, they're having their struggles. I had them winning the division. The New York Yankees, I'm not even going to go any further about them. All you need to know is they're 2 games above 500 and struggling and going in the wrong direction. Now, the New York Mets, they have surprised me. I picked them to win the division, and they're looking very good right now. The Los Angeles Dodgers, I figured it was going to be a Dodgers-Padres battle. Somebody forgot to give that memo to the San Francisco Giants. In the American League Central, my pick is holding true. The Chicago White Sox are becoming the best team. And by the way, before I forget, I just found out the Cubs-White Sox City Series will be the Sunday game, August 8th on ESPN. Mark that on your calendars. The White Sox look great. The Houston Astros, they're coming back, but the Oakland A's are making sure that the Astros don't get away too much. We're coming up on the All-Star break. What will happen? What will happen after the break? We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. And I'll tell you right now, the All-Star break this year is going to be something to remember. It is going to be a great weekend, and I got a great feeling that we're going to have a great All-Star game. We'll see what happens going into the second half of the season. And the bottom line is this. It's going to be fun going into the All-Star break. And that's all I have to say about that. Okay, folks, I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. I want to thank you guys so much for being with me here on this day. I will be back here Sunday night, either Sunday night at 11:30 or midnight. I will let you know of the time, just in case Game 3 of the NBA Finals runs over. It may be later, so stay tuned for that. And also, too, this coming Wednesday at 12 noon, I am going to be hosting the Scott Manning YouTube Baseball Second Half Kickoff Special. I will give you my predictions on on which team wins which division going into the second half of the season. We're going to have a great day on Wednesday. I want to thank you guys so much for being with me on this day. You guys have a great day. Thank you so much for being with me, and God bless. Goodbye, everybody, and I thank you.